just so you know, this is my third attempt at this because I'm trying to sum it up really simply and I keep losing track and it's really hard to sum up the 1860 election. So I'm going to try one more time, okay? 1860 election is the election where Abraham Lincoln runs for president, okay? Abraham Lincoln is running for president as part of the newly formed Republican Party, which formed after the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which we did talk about, all right? Basically, the Southerners freak out because they think that Lincoln is going to get rid of slavery in the whole country. And basically, Lincoln's platform, or his ideas as he's running for president at this time, are the non-expansion of slavery, okay? So he is running on the idea that slavery should not spread into the new territories. Those new territories should be open as lands of opportunity for free, poor whites, okay? He's willing to let slavery exist in the South as long as it keeps the country together. And they call this the Union, okay? So he's fighting for the Union, the states staying together, all right? So you're going to hear this term Union keep coming up and up over and over again as we go into the Civil War, so I want you to remember that. So you might say, well, what's the slave states' problems? Well, the slave states have been freaking out for years, okay? The northern states have been giving in to them since the signing of the Constitution, and they still are freaking out that the North is going to try to make laws against slavery. They're going to try to get rid of slavery there. People can argue about the fact that the Civil War was about states' rights, but the only rights that the South was that concerned about was their right to own slaves. Okay? So it boils down to Missouri Compromise about slavery. Compromise of 1850 about making the slave states happy. Okay? Kansas-Nebraska Act made over slavery and whether or not slavery should expand into the territories. And all these times, the North is kind of given in to the South. And still, the South is freaking out. They're like, no. They're going to try to get rid of slavery everywhere. So during the election, it's kind of crazy because you have the new Republican Party, which formed from an old party called the Whigs. Now, when we say Republican Party, that should sound a little bit familiar because we have Republicans and Democrats now. Okay, this is where the Republican Party first kind of comes out. And they come out as an anti-slavery party. But again, not because they want to go in and free all the slaves, but because they're fighting on the platform or the idea of slavery not expanding. Okay? Lincoln wins the election. And he basically wins the election because the country is so split. The people running for the Democrats, the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party splits into Northern and Southern Democrats, finally splits. Because Northern Democrats, up until this time, have voted with Southern Democrats for like the whole history. Who knows why, okay? So they finally split over slavery, over the idea of the expansion of slavery. So Stephen Douglas, who Lincoln ran against for Senate, which is a story we didn't get to get into, runs for the Northern Democrats. John C. Breckinridge runs for the Southern Democrats. Bell, I can't remember his first name, runs for the Constitution Party. So they create a whole nother party because, it's not working out. So now we have 4 main people running for president. So this splits the vote. So Lincoln basically gets elected with none of the southern states. He gets elected with 40% of the popular vote, which is less than half. But he gets enough votes and wins enough big states to get enough electoral votes that he gets elected president. And the response to him getting elected president from the South is, we are going to secede from the Union. Basically, secede means to separate from. Like, we made an agreement to come together during the Constitution, and now we don't think we have to honor that agreement because we don't agree with what you're doing. So the South begins to secede. It starts with South Carolina, ends with Virginia, okay? So now the southern states have broken off and formed their own country called the Confederacy, and they elect their own president. Jefferson Davis will become the first president of the Confederacy. So now you have one country split into 2 over the election of Abraham Lincoln.